back to another episode of GraysMatter podcast, where we talk about things and stuff. And today our co-hosts are Sarah.
Hello, I use she, her pronouns.
And Faye.
Hello, I use she, her pronouns also.
How are you two doing today?
Warm, very warm.
Oh.
I don't expect this warm here.
My mom lives in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And it is only 3 degrees warmer there than it is here.
Yeah, no, I expect this sort of weather out of southwestern U.S. I don't expect this weather in Minnesota.
You forget that our summers get up to 100, over 100, and we get oversaturated.
But it's early June.
I suppose.
That's supposed to happen in July.
I was going to say, that's usually July, but global warming.
Yeah.
Our planet is dying. We are killing it. Congratulations.
Was it I saw on Reddit the other day?
What did you see on Reddit the other day?
What was it? It was, I wish I could have been part of the fuck around generation instead of the find out generation.
Right?
That is so true. That is so very true. I saw a post. I didn't get to read the article, but Bloomberg posted an article saying that millennials are running out of time to build wealth. And like the first several comments essentially were, "We know." Yeah.
We need to have the ability to build wealth first.
Exactly.
There needs to be wealth there to build, not somebody stealing it all first.
Yeah. So my mom was in town.
Somebody being the people who write Bloomberg.
My mom was in town week before last, and she had asked me what my 5-year plan is. And I said, my 5-year plan is to have a job and a roof over my head. And that's pretty much all I can plan on.
Whenever I'm asked about my 5-year plan, it consists of 2 things. Being alive and not in jail.
Essentially.
It's a good prospect.
Hey, as a trans woman in America in this day and age, I feel like that is a very realistic outlook.
Yeah.
It's kind of the outlook for any minority in this country nowadays, you know?
Oh, yeah. A couple years ago, I was at a family picnic. I had brought up that automation is here, and it's here to stay. And we need to radically change the forces of our economy, how we view being, in quotes, productive, and how, in quote, being a member of society works.
Well, that's never going to change until
it's too late.
We have universal income and socialism.
Yeah.
And
so
that's not going to happen for at least another 500 years until, everything collapses.
So my
That's
family
a conservative estimate.
No, that's never going to happen. There will always be jobs, and everyone will always be able to get a job. And one of them was all like, yeah, whenever I have a phone tree, I just scream into the phone until a human picks up. And I tried telling them, that doesn't work anymore. We live in the future. The phone trees have gotten smarter.
Phone trees yell back.
Yeah. And so here we are a couple years later, and another family member of mine has aged out of the workforce. If she loses her job, she might not be able to get another one. And she is close in age to my mom. And it took someone, my mom's age to understand that automation is here and it's changing how work. And then I told her, another part of my job got automated as well. So it's all different now. Please understand, this is the future. The future is now. Humans need not apply.
I actively work on automating parts of my job during my day job, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need the entirety of society to be working.
No, not at all.
I believe I said this in an earlier episode, but I believe it was a few years ago when I read this article, but it said something like 20 or 40% of the current American workforce doesn't need to work, is a redundant workforce.
I saw something saying that it was closer to the 1 in 20 and possibly less, and that was less than what people thought.
Okay. And
that was like yesterday.
Okay, so that must have been a newer one. But it was such a big deal and it talked about how many redundancy jobs we have and how we create jobs to have jobs. So we create a job to look over a job that looks over that job.
Oh, yeah. There was an article a couple weeks back put out by one of the news media groups that essentially threatened its employees at the paper who don't return to the office, saying that if you don't return to the office, you might not have jobs anymore. So the publishing
it was
that was it.
The CEO or something wrote an op-ed in Mapo, and everyone was like, and struck for a day.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
People are really realizing how much power we have recently.
Finally.
Yeah.
Power to the proletariat.
Power to the people.
Yeah, I'm just going full commie here. That's all we're doing.
And of course, socialist.
Well, I was thinking that I'm probably on some watch lists at this point because during the 2020 election, I was looking up everyone who was running for president in our state, and that led me to a couple of not just far left communist sites, and I mean far left for socialist Europe far left, but also far right for America far right.
Stormfront.
Nazi sites. And I was like, oh, I am definitely going on some lists for being on both of these web pages.
Yeah.
But that also helps re-solidify the fact that the American political left is really just center. Let's not have people die is pretty much a center position.
Yeah. Speaking of not letting people die and jobs that don't need to exist and people having power, today begins the 4-day protest at the Line 3 site called the Treaty People Gathering to stop the Line 3 oil pipeline from being built under the Mississippi River. I don't know when this is going to air, but stop Line 3.
Stop Line 3.
Where's the protest?
G.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Bemidji. That's where the line's being built.
Get up there.
Yeah, that's only, let me think, 4 hours from here.
I know. I know the drive, but it's the Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important river in the entirety of North America.
Yeah. I mean,
that and the Colorado, and we've already fucked the Colorado. So.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
We almost destroyed the Mississippi once, and we worked so hard to bring it back, and
Enbridge is the devil, and everyone funding this pipeline project is too. Yeah. Talk about the Antichrist. So right before you got on, Justin, we were talking also about other religious things like that. And for listeners, there was an article in August of 2020 that spelled out, using biblical references, many biblical references, exactly how Donald Trump is the Antichrist. And it's actually hilarious and scary at the same time. So
yeah, it's impressive the work that this person went through.
I am looking forward to reading that.
Yeah.
I got about halfway through before we started.
So you were saying that something of the 7 towers are the 7 heads with 9 crowns?
With horns.
Horns?
Yeah.
Horns.
Yes.
The antenna on top of the
7 towers. Yeah.
That checks out.
Yep. In positive environmental news, though, did you guys see the decisions that came out of Europe last week?
No, I don't think I did.
No. Oh, Shell was told by a Dutch court, I think, that they have to reduce their emissions and the emissions of their customers by 90% in the next 10 years.
Nice.
That's fucking amazing.
Right?
How will that be enforced?
90%?
I have no idea how that will be enforced. But it's Europe, so they have slightly better mechanisms than we do.
Yeah.
And then one other major oil company, I cannot remember if it was Chevron or something else, but they got some climate activists actually elected to their corporate board.
Oh, I heard about that one. Yeah, that took me by surprise.
I mean, I've got stocks. Fiscally, I'm probably the most privileged person who you've invited to host on the podcast, and I do vote in those stockholder elections to attempt to decrease the amount of evil that they produce. So, can't be the only one, right?
I almost bought GameStop stocks. It happened to happen right after I had lost all my money. Not lost all my, I spent all, because I only have, I'm on disability. So sure. I only get my check once a month, and I spend it right away because bills. Yes. And they only give you, I get $900 a month. And yeah, it happened like right after I paid my bills. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I read that there was an illegal Bitcoin mining operation that got busted because the police that found it thought that it was an illegal drug manufacturing ring.
Sounds like them.
I mean, sort of. How many dealers take Bitcoin these days?
That's a good question.
Bitcoin's dying.
So then my question was, because I don't fully understand Bitcoin, how is it illegal? I mean, was it only illegal because they were stealing the electricity? Or was it also illegal because doing that would devalue Bitcoin? Is it possible to devalue Bitcoin by mining more of it?
Yes, that's how it gets devalued, and that's why it's almost worthless now.
Okay.
If you know more about crypto, please go ahead, because I only know a little bit.
I don't know a lot. I just know that I know a lot of it has gone down, and it's not the big, like, internets and non-currency, untrackable currency savior that we wanted it to be. Mostly because a bunch of people tried to take advantage of it and ruin it. That's all I really know. It's because I've read specific articles that say. Like, it's not like I know anything fancy about it, so...
My understanding is that there is, like, some sort of algorithm or program you have to run to be able to, quote, mine, unquote, a cryptocurrency. And if they were doing it illegally, they would have been, like, duplicating stuff. So it would be basically a counterfeit Bitcoin, because that Bitcoin already existed somewhere else.
Okay. See, I don't know what the difference between illegal mining and regular mining. I just know that the mining is a program that they go out and they search databases for these Bitcoins. And the Bitcoins essentially exist out in digital space. And they can exist in, like, your computer from the way that somebody explained it to me. And they can just exist in some of your files and stuff like that. And the mining programs find them, but the programs themselves burn so much, like, cause so much energy burn too. I don't know a lot of it. It was way over my head, even back when I knew a lot more about.
Okay. Well, I am going to stick with the two kinds of currency that I do understand. Dollars, or, euros, or pound sterling, the, physical money.
Physical
and
credit.
Bartering.
Oh, bartering.
Credit counts as physical in the way I'm describing it. Fiat money
barter.
And bartering.
I prefer barter.
Here, I found a Canadian blog that talks about blockchain and Bitcoin, and I'll throw that in the show notes file, and we can put it in the show notes if we want.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. That might give a little bit better. That will help anybody that wants to understand this a little better. Yes, me too. Because it's been a long time. To be able to actually remember any of this stuff, I would need a refresher.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I'm obviously not really doing well at explaining any of it.
Fiat money. That's what it's called. Yes. The dollars thing I was trying to say. Fiat money. Fiat money?
Right.
F-I-A-T.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
So the finer points of metaphysics we can talk about for, 40 minutes with no pausing, but crypto...
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want me to get... I spent the last, 3 days watching a bunch of fucking videos on string theory. Do you want to get into this?
Not string
theory. I have a notebook.
Real physics.
I have a whole notebook full.
I'm in a Starfinder campaign, and one of the characters is a druid. And the druid was unhappy because an NPC is doing some sort of molecular biology or something.
Oh.
And I was like, well... But remember Kiri Kintha's first law of metaphysics. Nothing unreal exists. And I was waiting for somebody to get that reference, and nobody did, and I was sad.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it either.
In Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, in the opening scene where Spock is doing the training stuff and, working on getting his memory back, but it's all the educational stuff, that's one of the questions that one of the computers was asking before his mom walked in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I have not seen 4. That's the one with the whales, right?
That is the one with the whales.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Everybody. That's the one with the whales, right?
It's the most identifiable feature of it.
Yeah, it is.
Not wrong.
It is pretty much what saved Star Trek in the European theaters.
Yeah.
So Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, as I recall, did poorly in Europe, and that's why in Europe it was titled The Voyage Home, Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that makes sense. And it was funny. There was lots of laughs, lots of good jokes. Everybody loves it more than I do. I like it a lot. It's not my favorite. My favorite is 2, The Wrath of Khan.
That's definitely everybody's favorite.
Oh, yeah.
What, you don't like the first one with the sentient...
V'ger.
space
I
probe?
love Star Trek, the motion picture, so much. That movie helped me pass my religion classes in high school.
I gotta hear this.
So, there would be times where I'd be just kind of staring off into space, not paying attention, because, untreated ADD,
How it
going
do?
to a religious school, being an atheist, that sort of thing. And then the teacher would say, "Are you paying attention?" And I'd be like, "Yes." And going back to the last thing I heard you say, blah, 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 V'ger, what if God is in our own image? Whatever happened with Ilea and Decker, somehow wrap it up into a bow and pull a point out of my ass that is mostly Star Trek. And she'd go,
Nice.
"That makes a lot of sense. Well done. I thought you weren't paying attention." I was like, "Of course I'm paying attention." And then I go back to trying to pay attention and it's kind of zoning out again. I mean, that's a lot of what Star Trek the Motion Picture was. It was adapted from the pilot script for Star Trek Phase 2 called In Thy Image. It is really just a lot of talk about what is God.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful piece of musical and visual art. Just a masterpiece of art.
I tease it, but I do enjoy it. It's a very underappreciated,
Oh yeah, it's so good.
and specifically because of that, a lot of people just don't understand what it's about and what they're getting at there with the whole thing. They're not going to a Star Trek movie for that. Like, that's not what they're expecting from a Star Trek. But people don't know what they're... don't blah.
The director's cut did a better job getting the point across, I think.
True.
The director's cut is shorter than the theatrical release. And that is the only director's cut I know of that is shorter than the theatrical release.
That's the only one I know of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder how much Roddenberry was involved in the final cut of the theatrical release. He got into a couple of director's ways at the start of TNG,
Yes, he did.
so...
Yeah. He had quite the vision, terrible execution, and he was in it for a lot of the money.
Yeah.
Like the Idic pin that made its debut in original series episode... Come on, brain. What price
We can look it up
beauty?
later.
What is beauty? Something with the word beauty in it. It's the episode with the Medusans and the blind woman who is played by the person who later plays Dr. Pulaski. I can't think of her name right now. Comes on board, and she is the only human who is able to be with a Medusan because she's blind. That episode, they have a small, they have a scene where they zoom in on the Idic, and Roddenberry designed that so that they could have something else to sell so that he could make more money.
Yeah.
And the lyrics to the original series, he wrote them so that he can get some of the musical credit for the theme to the original series.
I knew he'd written the lyrics, I didn't know that was the reason.
Yeah, it's not like Joss Whedon who wrote the lyrics to the Firefly song because he was inspired.
Did you know that, and we don't know why yet, but both cis women and trans women have higher instances of autoimmune disorders, and we don't know why. No one knows why.
That is fascinating.
I knew
women-
that cis women did. I didn't know that trans women did.
Yeah, I was
That's-
watching a
that is
SciShow about
fascinating.
that.
Does it specify trans women who are on HRT or not?
They didn't say so specifically in the episode, but I am imagining so.
Yeah, I would imagine if it's something along that lines that they would consider medical transition first.
Yeah.
If otherwise they would identify. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
But now the question is, why? The human body is such a mystery.
There's theories about a lot of autoimmune and things like fibro and ADHD and stuff like that they are, and empathy disorders, that they are the first step of the next stage in our evolution.
I appreciate it, and it's funny.
Well, consider this. With ADHD, individuals, once they have learned to adapt and work with their disorder, have shown an increased ability to multitask, an increased ability to pay attention to multiple things and focus and register more things.
That might explain why I tend to do well with the gorilla suit test.
Yeah, people with a lot of empaths.
The gorilla suit test is there is a group of people tossing basketballs to each other, and you're supposed to count how many basketballs there are and see if anybody switches out. And while that is happening, someone dressed in a gorilla suit walks across the screen. And you're supposed to keep track of the number of people bouncing basketballs and notice if there is the person in the gorilla suit or not, and if anybody leaves. And there's only a certain amount of people who can do that.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff happening at once. It's really hard to do. Not only did we do that in college for, I think it was psych courses, but also when I did Citizens Academy with my local police department, we did that when talking about how first-hand observer aren't fully reliable because so much is happening. It is very difficult to keep track.
Yeah.
But you were saying?
Also, people with empath disorders tend to be able to read situations and rooms better and faster than other people do. And so far, there's no logical understanding as to why. And it's literally just connected to their anxiety and the way that their anxiety is registered work. And I forgot trade-offs that happen with a lot of autoimmune and pain disorders. I mean, with pain disorders that usually come with autoimmune, we tend to develop increased pain resistance and tend to be able to sit and go through situations that a lot of other people aren't able to go through. And on top of that, somebody who has one of those tends to have at least one of the other.
Yes.
And those...
that I've seen too, especially with like specific categories of what are called zebra diseases.
Exactly.
Then if you have one, you are very likely to see a comorbidity with one of the others in that group.
Yeah, like I have fibromyalgia, I have borderline personality disorder, I have ADHD. All three of those are zebra disorders. They're ones that, they're dump disorders. They're ones that used to be considered fake by doctors all over the world. So...
Oh, yeah. Diana Mulder. That is her name.
Yes.
The actress I was trying to think of. That just came to my head.
Okay.
Is there, in truth,
hey,
no beauty?
Quinn.
Shakespeare. That's the name of the episode I was trying to think
Actually,
of.
hey, can either of you remember the last time 200 milligrams of ibuprofen worked on you?
Maybe 6.
200 milligrams. How much is that? Is that like 2 regular size capsules?
That is one regular size or no, that is 2 regular size capsules, you're right.
Okay. I want to say high school. I went to high school, but that's wrong because that's Excedrin I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I would, to be honest, I'd probably say early middle school.
Early middle school. Yeah, maybe elementary school.
That sounds about right, because that's when I started taking Mom's 800 milligram pills for period pain, so...
Yeah.
When my doctor diagnosed me with fibromyalgia finally, the rheumatologist, he looked over my medical records and all the, like, unknowns that were flagged throughout my history, because I had gone to Park Nicollet almost my entire life. And he looked at it and he goes, yeah, you probably had fibro your entire life. This leg pain that you kept going to the doctor from the age of, like, 12 till you graduated from high school, yeah, that was fibro. And I was just like, son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah. That is unsurprising.
Disturbingly unsurprising, but unsurprising nonetheless.
But you want to let's tie this in. Let's tie this into the thing. So disability and gender. You want to know how that has all tied in? So let's play the how does being trans in a day-to-day life in Minneapolis go? Did I ever tell you about the day that I got? Huh?
Question you and Justin can answer.
So, have I ever told you about the day that I got on the bus to go downtown, and there was this sweet old lady in a little scooter at the front of the bus, so I stood by her, because thought it was the safest place in the bus, and she was nice, and commented about how cute I looked in my dress, and everything, and how cute my skirt was, and stuff, and, like, picked at it a little bit, to show that she thought it was nice and stuff, and I complimented her, and I, like, zoned out like I do on the bus with my headphones in, and all of a sudden I feel an arm up my fucking skirt!
What the fuck?
Grabbing my crotch. Look over, and the little old lady was just grinning up at me.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I just walked to the other side of the aisle and got off at the next stop.
I
Probably
have
a
only
smart
presented
thing to
as
do.
masculine on mass transit,
I didn't know.
and that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also the gentleman that decided to, for about 10 stops, scream at me that at the next stop he was going to get off the bus and stab me to death. The bus driver, after the guy finally got off and said, "Glad he got off, I was going to call the cops," looked at him and said, "Why the fuck didn't you?"
Yep. The reason why I only presented as mask when taking mass transit.
That was the bus from northeast over to Rosedale.
Northeast to Rosedale.
Northeast to Rosedale Mall.
What is that, the 30?
I think so. I don't remember. I haven't taken mass transit in a long time.
Pandemic will do that to you.
The old lady was on the 5. I shouldn't have been surprised.
The 5's awful.
The 5 is
The
awful.
5 is...
I used to live
Next
on
to-
Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Although, the 5 is the only place I ever found someone else playing Super Smash Brothers that wanted to just play a few rounds while we were on the bus together. I will give it that credit.
I believe it.
The
I
5 has the
totally believe
weirdest dichotomy. The 5 has somebody that will stab you in daylight and be able to walk away scot-free. Or has the, like, nicest person ever that would just, like, chill with you and fuck around. It's unlike that one bus in St. Paul where they just have the person that will stab you.
I will admit I'm not as familiar with St. Paul's bus personalities, but
I've only
I'm not
taken
as
the,
familiar. I just was always told that there was a bus in St. Paul that was worse than the 5, and I was just like, how?
there's buses in Minneapolis that are worse than the 5 too. Honestly, I'd put the 7 as slightly worse than it.
Fair.
And granted, the 5 and the 7 serve areas that are food deserts, most disadvantaged,
Yes.
most overly policed with
I'm
the
not
least social
faulting.
resources.
Yes, you're correct.
I'm not faulting anything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
Just putting it out there that
Yeah.
it gets like that because society designed it to be that way.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Frickin' society. Facebook gave me an official warning because I forgot to use an emoticon instead of the word men.
Yeah, I was wondering what was that about? Explain this to me. I am confused.
So on a friend's Facebook page, she had mentioned that she was dressed in, baggy clothes and PPE and was at work doing work things, botany stuff.
Yeah.
And some guy felt the need to slow down as he was driving by and tell her that she's hot and then drive off.
Ugh.
And I had mentioned that, men are gross and that society feeds into that and teaches that men are supposed to be gross and it sucks. And Facebook's like, we don't allow hate speech here. And I was like,
Yeah, because
this
you used
isn't hate
that's
speech.
not hate speech.
This is me criticizing society and how it makes a cultural imperative for groups of people to act this way. And Facebook was like, all right, we re-reviewed what you said and took that into account, and it's still hate speech. So you're getting an official warning, and you could have your account blocked or whatever. And I'm like, you're really messed up, Facebook.
Yeah, if Facebook ever looks at my account, I'm dead.
Yeah. And that's why I use emoticons all the time. It was the one time I forgot to use an emoticon. Because, there's the
that
fortune
why,
emoticons where there's a white circle and I guess it's a zodiac symbol or whatever for men and women and all that. And I just use those
Mars
all
and
the
Venus.
time. Oh, yeah, that's what those are.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I should have realized that. I don't actually pay attention to the zodiac. I mean, unless it's,
It's a fun distraction.
a friend of mine talking about their zodiological stuff, or if it's the Zodiac Killer. Those are the only two times I pay attention to the Zodiac.
I find the Chinese zodiac more compelling than the Western one, but that's just me.
I am a Taurian boar. I am very bullish.
Do you know what element your boar is?
No.
What's your birth year?
1983.
All right, I'm gonna look
I didn't even know elements was a thing.
Yep. The woodcock. Damn it.
it up. Nice.
Can you beat that?
Yes, I can.
Water.
Thank you.
You're a water pig.
Water. I can't swim.
I think I'm a wood horse.
I forget. I think I am wood ox. I'm 85, November.
Give me just a second here. Oh no, I'm not wood. I might be metal then. Alright, 1985 you said?
Yep.
Wood ox, yeah.
Oh.
And little baby me in 1990. You can do it website.
Well, my daddy was born in 93. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm a metal horse. So the way that the elements work is there's 5 elements in traditional Chinese culture.
That's metal.
Yeah. So there's 12 animals and 5 elements, and every year you switch to the next thing in the cycle. So it takes 60 years to get through a full cycle of both elements and animals.
Yeah, for the years for that cycle, I prefer that, but I do still respect my Scorpio Capricorn, I think. I don't remember.
Well, I have another site for that, but I will name drop Johnny Nicholas as a very inspiring astrology writer, if that is something you are into.
I do. I do respect my astrology. I don't, I'm not, to me, it's impossible to believe that something that big cannot have an impact on us. Also, with the concept of string theory and the fact that everything is interconnected and the strings literally are everything, it's hard also not to believe that is possible. I may not believe that they are the end-all, be-all of our existence, but they have some element of truth to it.
It sounds like you'd really like Johnny's work then. Chani, Johnny Nicholas.
Yeah.
He wrote a book called You Were Born for This, where you go through the different parts of your zodiac birth chart. You'll need to know the time you were born as well as the day.
I do.
Then you're good to go.
You know, that reminds me of Stranger in a Strange Land. Anything about the Zodiac reminds me of Stranger in a Strange Land, pretty much.
I mean...
because Valentine Michael Smith being born on Mars, the Zodiac on Mars is different. And Zodiac being one of the official religions on Earth in the book, has to make up something for the Zodiac for Valentine to work. And it causes trouble down the road.
That's the one OSP did, and there was a whole sex cult at the end, right?
That is the one. Yes.
Okay.
I love OSP.
They are amazing.
They are amazing. I hope to meet them one day so I could elbow bump them and say thank you for being awesome. I should put them in as a
suggestion for
Oh, my moon is Pisces. That's
what?
Right.
Pisces sun, or?
No, my sun is Scorpio.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Sarah, you were saying what?
I was saying we should invite them as guests to Convergence.
That would be so great. So very great.
So
it's my moon that I always forget. My ascendant is Capricorn. So I get those two mixed.
Cap rising.
I mean,
I got that Sag rising.
I think they live in Illinois, so they're not too far from here.
Ooh.
I think.
Now, are they doing anything for Pride in Minneapolis this year?
I don't know. I used to volunteer with the safety team there, and I was pretty into it. And then that whole shit show with are cops going to be at Pride? Are cops not going to be at Pride? And I know the director, and I was working in the same building as her at the time, so we would cross paths and chat a fair amount. And I was like, why did you guys do that? And she was like, we never meant to do that, and this wasn't happening, this wasn't supposed to be like this. And I just kind of decided after the comments that I heard in the audience at the parade, because the parade that year was stopped by a protest led mostly by queer folks of color. And honestly, some of the comments I heard in the audience working safety they were just awful. Mostly white gay men.
Not surprised.
Yeah, but I made the determination that I didn't need to volunteer with safety again until the org cleaned its act up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the TC Pride website, their events calendar says that they have stuff happening.
The Grand Marshal Masquerade? It's
Masquerade.
Masquerade.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
But let's see. Today is June 5th, 2021, dear listeners in the future.
Yeah.
So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ladybugs came to the Ladybugs picnic. Sorry, that is Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, there are 12. 12 events coming up. Wow, that worked out perfectly, actually. I just have children's songs stuck in my head. because on my Facebook timeline, I shared today a song from the Elephant Show that I had learned when I was 1 or 2 years old, and it stuck with me for the past almost 40 years. And it came up in my Facebook memories, because when I had shared it several years ago, only one person knew where those lyrics came from, because I only put the lyrics down. So I put that moment when someone not only understands the lyrics to something you post, but exactly where those lyrics come from. Mm-hmm. So today's commenters were like, wait, that's actually from something? I learned it from, this one teacher at school, or this one person at recess, or whatever. I'm like, this is from this one show back in the 80s, back when Nickelodeon was still Pinwheel.
Pride Festival is going to be July 17th to the 18th.
Really? That's early.
The 49th annual Twin Cities Pride Festival will be held at Loring Park on July 17th to the 18th, and will be featuring local BIPOC and LGBTQ plus vendors, food courts, beer garden, and music stages. Due to time constraints, Pride is foregoing the Saturday night concert and fireworks. Hours will be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. both Saturday, July 17th, and Sunday, July 18th, at Loring Park in Minneapolis.
I should plan to go to whatever protest is on the 18th then.
There is also a Minnesota People of Color LGBTQ Pride 2021 in Loring Park on Saturday 14th, according to the TC Pride website.
Wait, what?
I know J Pride's doing a bunch of stuff this month. Mir just put out the calendar.
Yeah, there is a second Pride happening in August.
Where's that listed?
tcpride.org/events.
Yeah.
Set it for July 1st and onwards. I'll stick it into the show notes here.
Oh, I see it. That's really cool. That is really cool.
To give TC Pride some credit, the person who has run Dispatch for Safety for years and years and years is a trans wheelchair user. So there is some good there that they should build on. That's the credit I'll give Pride.
I didn't know
Nor
how
did
bad Pride was, the organization, TC Pride. But I also shouldn't have been surprised, considering they let in the Log Party Republicans.
Yeah, there's the problem with, and I think this isn't just a Twin Cities thing, I think this is a general big cities prides thing, is that a lot of rainbow capitalism has gotten in the way.
Oh, yeah.
And in order to do the things they want to do, they need to have enough money to do that. And to do that, there needs to be, a big love is love, #Target in the middle of Loring Park.
So they have
priorities
to accept everybody. That is so they can get as much money in as possible.
Oh god, I saw a fantastic meme today. It was the Aperture Science logo with some rainbow capitalism bullshit. Let me see if I can find it again.
Nice. I haven't seen quite a bit of that. Like Waylani Yutani and Rainbow Corp. Mm-hmm. And who is the company that made RoboCop? Is that Waylani Yutani?
I thought that was the Alien company.
Okay, if they're aliens,
I was going to say
who's the RoboCop one?
RoboCop.
I guess I could look it up. I mean, we live in the future.
Omnicorp.
Omnicorp, that's them. Here I am going on talking about how we're in the future, and then I don't use any of this wonderful future tech that we have.
Here it is. Aperture Science announcement voice. Congratulations, homosexual! Your existence has been deemed profitable in the following regions: North America, Western Europe, and Australia. To celebrate the occasion, we have temporarily recolored all Aperture Science appliances in these regions to your favorite flavor of gay. For further pandering on a wider area, please continue fighting for basic human dignities, and Aperture Science will be right there to celebrate your victory with you. Afterwards.
What about New Zealand?
No, New Zealand has better human rights than we do.
That's true. Yeah, we are way off from the show notes.
Have we ever followed the show notes?
Once.
Not to my recollection.
And not even for the same episode they were supposed to be on.
Hey, I will tell you. So I sent out the demo to a few people.
Yeah.
Want to know the most common compliment I've gotten?
What's that?
Oh.
It feels like I'm in a conversation with you.
Aww.
Sweet. Love that.
So I think we're doing good.
Yeah.
That is very good to hear.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
That's a compliment.
hope to keep giving out quality conversations.
This is our first recording since the demo episode was finished with editing, right?
Yes, it is.
Look at us progressing.
Yeah.
Now all we have to do is one of these days sit down and actually do our series.
Yes, we do. Well, we'll get planning on that soon. Well, we've also been recording for an hour now.
Wrap up time.
Yeah. Well, is there anything either of you would like to say before we say goodnight?
There are only 11 dimensions. Any other dimensions beyond that collapse into the 11th dimension and you're all crazy.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success. That's all.
Now I want to make some cake. Maybe I'll do
Do
that.
it. I made a cake last week that looked like a human child and said, "Please don't eat me" on it.
Nice.
Yes, I can send you a picture.
Please do.
Yay.
I should watch Star Trek while doing it then.
Yeah, Star Trek and cake.
Star Trek NK. For those who don't get
Can't
the
go wrong with
reference,
Star
there's an
Trek
episode
NK.
of Next Generation where Data is having nightmares, and one of them is that Deanna Troi is a cake.
I was going to say.
Oh, I was going the aperture science angle.
Well, you were,
Cake
yeah.
is a lie.
That's what made me want the cake. And then the cake led into Star Trek. And so that's how Aperture Science led to Star Trek in my brain.
Cave Johnson would be proud.
I need to finish playing Portal 2.
Yes.
I've never beat Portal 2 either.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm halfway
Do
through it. I just ran out of time and had stuff to do. To hit save.
Then
I got
watch a
stuck
Let's
and
Play or
frustrated
something.
and distracted by another game.
Yeah.
At least watch a Let's Play, because the ending sequences and the discoveries are really a good story.
I've seen the ending.
Okay.
I do know the ending, so.
All right. So to prevent this from turning into Minnesotan goodbye, have a good night, everybody.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, indeed. Until next time.